Okay, so, well, it probably says in the title, but yeah, got a nice little pre-war Matchless G2. It's just in for a bit of work. Unfortunately, it's not mine. Yeah, pre-war stuff is just a little bit out of my reach, unfortunately. Yeah, even though prices are coming down, they're yeah. Well, let's just say if it was $4.99, it'd still be $5 or too much. But anyway, so yeah, we've got a few bits to sort out on this one. Hang on, let me just sort this camera out. Might be better, might not be, can't tell. Yeah, so I can't remember everything that this is in for. There is a bit of a list, but the main things are we need to do something about fastening this centre stand on. It prefers to store its oil externally. I've just been having a nose in. Yeah, it doesn't like it in the tank. You can see where it's been stood for the last week. So yeah, it empties the tank into the crankcases and then drips out the breather and out of this oil pipe as well. So yeah, it is a bit of a jaunty angle, that fitting, so dare say that's seen better days. And it's got more neutrals than gears, and that isn't a loose lever, that is just plating the shaft. So yeah, we might have to see if we can come up with something for that. Oh, it is all a bit precarious at the minute. It's just sat on an old paddock stand with a cable tie around the front brake. So I think one of the first jobs will be to sort out that centre stand. No idea how far we're going to get with this in this video, because I'm sort of, yeah, day and a half, 2 days late getting to the job. It was cleaning when it turned up. It's managed to gather some dust. I think it'll have a nice oily coating on it, so every grain of dust will stick to the thing. A bit like the old Norton over there. She does a similar thing. On the plus side, you know, oily rag, it all comes clean again. Yes. And of course, if they don't leak oil, I won't have an oily rag, and I won't have anything to wipe it down with. Right, where to begin? Because I've nearly finished my cup of tea. So, yeah, gonna have to do something. I think we'll drop the oil out the bottom of the crankcases, because it's full. Well, except for what's leaked on the floor, because that is empty. Looks like it could maybe do with the cleaning there as well. Right. So yeah, if I drop some oil out, I can take them lines off, and that'll just give me easier access to the centre stand. Right. That almost sounds like a plan. Oh, look, a loose bit. There'll be a few of those, I'm sure. Right, onwards. Rightio, so we've got a few components off. Exhaust missing. Well, it's not missing, it's over there. And that was one of the issues with the bike. The exhaust doesn't like staying on its little exhaust nub, so you know, I'll come up with something, possibly sort of a finned clamp setup, because I've got a couple of those kicking about. The same size, which is nice. Anyway, yes. Yeah, absolutely no oil in the tank. There was a spanner in there earlier, because I rather foolishly left one sat on the seat, and naturally it just went straight into the oil tank. It has been retrieved. So yes. Yeah, obviously centre stands off. There it is. So she's lost one of the nuts off there. Oh, flipping heck, try again. It's just 1/2 inch, I think 16 TPI, because that's not quite an inch, so I'm sort of guessing 16 TPI sounds somewhere near, doesn't it? I think so. Yeah, I'm going to have to get some hex bar and machiners up a little top hat. There is option for a different centre stand, but I've had a look and I don't think it's really that viable, so we'll put that over there. I'm going to have to come up with a better arrangement for the spring, because it's been stretching down from here, so of course when the stand's down, it's a long way to go. So as a result, it's needed quite a weak spring, so then it just bounces around. Probably half the reason that it's lost the nut off the other end of there. Stand itself's not exactly the best shape. but you know, it'll go again. I'm sure we can make that go again. So yeah, just generally been looking at some of the issues. That pipe being a bit cockled there at the end, it just meant the olive wasn't sort of sat straight up in there, which is probably why that one's leaking, hopefully. And it's been chafing on the frame. I don't know where, yeah, so it's got that bit of a thin spot on it there. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the wire from the points isn't meant to be pinned in place with a valve lifter. Yeah, that's sort of pinned in, that is. Well, yeah. Maybe I have to reroute that. I can't see that being something Matchless intended. Yeah, we've got the cover off the top of the gearbox. There she is, nice messy grease-filled gearbox. You can get all the gears, sort of counted 4 of them, so you know. She's got 4. Completely forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, nothing looks terrible in there, at a glance anyway. I might find out if I have to pull it apart properly that there's a couple of issues. But yeah, it's an old bike. I'm hoping we can just get away with pulling the front cover off the gearbox and making some bushes up to try and reduce this lot. I mean, if we've got to pull it and split it, we have, but it'd just be nice if that was good. That was enough to make it acceptable. Yeah. So, where to go next? We could really do with taking that oil pump out. Just the rate that the oil manages to leave the tank and head for the sump. Well, it's quicker than Royal Mail is. So yeah, we should really do something about that. And I've just realised there's something stuck in my hand, hence the twirly around camera. There's still something stuck in my hand. There we go, metal splinter. Right, that's that gone. That'll be from all the welding and grinding we was doing, patching up the youth spike. The eldest one. I suppose I'll do some editing at this point because I'm talking rubbish. That's done the bits I am talking, and then other bits of just sitting in silence. Could always use this as B-roll. Let's make some B-roll, shall we? Doobie. Matchless G2. Anyway, right, so enough silliness. Okay, well, I didn't take the oil pump out. I took the cover off and had a quick look, and I thought I might just pull this off so I can see him from the top. Had to go do something, came back and took the gearbox apart, which then led on to I need to take the lathe apart, but we'll get to that. Oh, and I might have to pull the cylinder head off for a decoke. Yeah, because when I was initially going to whip this off, I thought, right, we'll get it on, you know, somewhere near top dead rocking, so there's no pressure on the cams down there. So I whipped the spark plug out and initially found that the HT lead was held in with good luck and happy thoughts. So I think I've run out of the little brass caps for them, so I might have to buy some more. And then whipped the plug out, and I don't know about you, but I reckon that engine could be ready for a decoke. That is horrendous. Yeah. Probably doesn't show too well on the camera, but yeah, if you get in there and look at it properly, the little electrode and the tip are just the way they're meant to be, in the right shape, just under a lot of carbon. So there's a good chance that's going to have to come off. Oh, and I found the little manual and started having a read. That's not the page I need, that's just the page where I realised that the manual was pointless. Fine if you want to adjust your timing or your valves or change your oil and adjust your chain, but yeah, not really much information when you start pulling sides off gearboxes and wanting to be inside the engine. So yeah, that was a wasted 20 minutes. But anyway, so we've got this cover off the side of the gearbox, and like all the gearboxes try to do, you try as best as you can to very, very gently pull it all apart, and the bits exit the gearbox with some enthusiasm. But anyway, we've got everything, we know roughly where it goes. Well, we know where it all goes. And yeah, this bush is cream crackered. It's got about 20 thou clearance on that shaft, so it wobbles around like a good one. If I whip it off, you could probably see the wear line there, because it has been turning inside the case. So this end bit was protruding from the case, and when you push the bush back and you get to this end bit, it goes nice and firm in the case. Well, that might be because the end's slightly splayed. Pardon me, can't get my words out. Yeah, that might be because the end's slightly splayed from the shaft waggling around. But yeah, that's been sort of rotating in the casing, so we're going to have to make sure that's still round, and if it's not, make it round. And then we'll get some bronze. Have I got enough? If I've got a lump big enough, I'll use what I've got. If not, I'll order some. And we shall machine the outer to suit that, whatever it ends up being, and the inner to suit that shaft, however worn it happens to be. I'm hoping by getting rid of a lot of that free play, it just makes it a little bit more positive on gear changes, and easy to select some gears, because that shaft floats back and forth real nice, and there isn't an excessive amount of movement in it at that end. Obviously there'll be some wear on this bush because of how bad that one was, but I'd had a thought that'd be acceptable once that one's replaced. Which then led to the lathe. There she be. Because a while ago I had to go at truing her up because she wasn't quite right. And it's got a set of feeler gauges stuck out the side of the gearbox, which are shims at the moment, just an old set. And I was struggling like heck to get it to cut through. Got it pretty close. And it just dawned on me, what if it's not out side to side, what if it's out up and down? So I just stuck the dial gauge on, and yeah, the headstock's pointing uphill. So while we're pulling the gearbox back off that, there's 4 big bolts that hold them down on them. So presumably at some point it's maybe just like pulled a thread up a little bit out the casting, so the gearbox can't sit true on the ways, but yeah, we'll find out. So yes, I can do that while I'm waiting for some bits to turn up for this thing once I've finished digging holes. Anyway, as it's getting quite late, because like I said I have to stop and go do other things, well, it's still daylight, which is nice. I think, and it's a school night tonight as well, it might be time to push the Norton in far enough to shut the door and go inside. Yes, I'll put the plug back in the hole, cap's that over. We'll just cover some bits up at the top of the gearbox so I don't throw spanners in them. Okay, well, it's a couple of days later now. Yeah, I've had to go to work in bits, so yeah. Anyway, after seeing the state of that spark plug, I thought we'd best whip the cylinder head off this thing, because yeah, I thought she's going to need a decoke, and flipping heck does it need a decoke. There's some great big nasty lumps on there, and inside the head is just as bad. So I've not done anything to it yet. This is how I pulled it off. You see how thick it is where it's peeling off that valve. Hopefully, let's just turn this around. Oh, hopefully it's that oil feed there, because it's got an adjuster on it. It's that piece, and hopefully it's just been turned up too high and shoving too much oil in there. But yeah, since we're this deep, it makes sense just to whip that barrel off and just make sure those rings and bits are okay. I think there will be, but you know, it's only 4 more nuts to undo to get the barrel off the thing. So we might as well do it while we're there. Oh, actually, while the camera's on, let's just get a nice little shot of those timing gears, because that is absolutely bang on top dead at the moment, and no doubt at some point I'll forget where the marks are. So there we go. When I forget, you can remind me. You watch most of the views this video, it'll be me checking the timings on the bloody thing. So yes, yeah, the initial plan, I was going to do one job at a time, but then I thought, nah, well, you know, it'll be here forever if I do that, so let's just dig some holes, see how deep the problem is, no problems are, get it all over with. Right, I'll whip this barrel off. Okay, well, good news. The barrel looks quite healthy in there, which it should do. Recently had a rebore, all looks nice in there. The piston itself looks lovely, so it is just decoking and popping back together. And of course it's she's going to burn some oil. There's no oil control ring on these, so instead of like a modern piston with the 2 compression rings and an oil control ring, we've got 3 compression rings and no oil control. I will take those off actually and pop them in the bore and just measure the ring gaps, make sure they're okay. But yeah, of course the more rings you've got, well, you need more piston rings for better heat transfer. And of course modern engines are much better at staying cool, as if you've got an old cast iron barrel, yeah, you're going to make some heat and you need to get rid of it. But yeah, I think that'll do, won't it, that? Yeah, just wants a bit of decoking. Of course I need to make a new one of those up for the gearbox. Still need to get the oil pump out. Still need to true the lathe up. But since I like to get a video out on a Friday afternoon, and Friday afternoon is only about an hour away, I think. Where's the time? Yeah, about an hour away. I really should see about muddling some of this together in a half-assed manner, I'm sure, and giving you some form of video to watch. Right, so I'll go do that, and then hopefully next time we'll have the oil pump out, we'll have the lathe trued up, decoking done, and yeah, we can sort a few bits and bobs out. Right, yeah. Onward. Don't normally say that at the end of a video, do I? No. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Ta-da!